August to celebrate and look around the Keeneland race course. But yeah, it's kind of
urge you to make a donation before things get rolling, and then once you make all the money that you do here today in playing the races, then you can make a second donation. oki.wish.org/Keeneland is the website in which you can make that donation. Again, oki.wish.org/Keeneland is where you can make a donation for Make-A-Wish Day here at Keeneland. We urge you to do that right now. Yesterday here at Keeneland, we had a win and you're in, Gabby Gaudet, the J.P. Morgan Chase Jessamine Stakes, and we had a breakout performance, and you called it with this filly for Brad Cox.
She just looked so special in her debut at Churchill Downs, and she came back, Aunt Pearl, to go to the lead under Florent Geroux. She went fast, but she kept on going, and she shattered the stakes record in the Grade 2 J.P. Morgan Chase Jessamine. This just seems like a very, very special filly, Scott.
Yes, she really does. And Florent after the race, said in the infield in the post-race interview, said he didn't realize he was going as fast as he was. He was shocked that she was going as fast, and Brad Cox was very pleased. And obviously, she'll have that home court advantage when the international invaders come, those from the east, those from the west. It's going to be a heck of a renewal when it comes to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf on Future Stars Friday, the first of 2 days of the Breeders' Cup program. Perfect weather today. This weekend, it could get a little dodgy. Let's find out more, though, from the professionals at WKYT.
It is another day out at the races at Keeneland, and it will be absolutely spectacular in the world of weather. Got up to 80 degrees yesterday, so the conditions remain on the drier side out there for us. Today, yes, dry again, but a little more cloud cover starting to sneak in on us, probably maxing out in the low and mid 70s. I mean, very little change out there for you today, and any planning that you may have on betting, however the weather might add up in your equation. It does look fairly nice in the world of weather for us. But again, let's just lock in our minds and keep thinking ahead of this weekend when it is going to be wet, as we'll see some of that tropical moisture stream into our skies. Good luck out there.
Been keeping track of that forecast for the weekend, Gabby, and it keeps getting pushed, and then they keep lessening the amount of rain that we're expected on the weekend. So maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be less than what is forecasted at this point. But we're going to have good weather today as well as tomorrow, and fingers crossed for the weekend. All right, time now for our picks for the entire card. And before we get to that, let's go to social media. Well, actually, it says handicapper picks. Look at item 8 there. Yeah, see there.
Okay, so
Philip
it's not your fault today.
But he jumped a little bit there. That's fine. Social media, at Keeneland Racing, at Keeneland on Facebook, at Keeneland on Instagram. And then don't forget to download the Watch TVG app on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or Apple TV, and stay current with everything in the world of TVG. Got anything else to say?
No,
you're
over there. Following the rules.
I'm just following the directions.
Yeah.
I can count to 10, I can tell you that. Beyond that, it might get a little bit dicey. All right, now time for the full card selections for this afternoon, presented by TVG. And once again, disagreement reigns supreme.
There are a lot of colors on there. Scott, do we agree on one race? Yeah, well, I'm sorry, you are color blind, but you can read numbers.
The last race is where we agree.
Wow, and I scratched into that top pick because my top selection scratched. So, yeah, well, it looks like it should be a fun day. A challenging day, but fun day.
It's amazing how different our opinions always are. I cannot think of one instance, really, or a day where we've aligned, but that's the beauty of handicapping. We're going heads up. And by the way, if you're looking for those selections, make sure you download the Keeneland app on your smart device, on your smartphone. That's where you can access all of those picks, as well as comments, write-ups on each of those races as well. So make sure you download that right now if you haven't already. The featured race is race number 9 in this 10-race card. This is an allowance race. It's one of these conditions that allows for stakes-type horses and stakes horses to run. Race number 9, a mile and a 16th. I'm not going to dive into the condition, but it's a very good race. That's the bottom line. And this race is headlined by some big names. Spectacular Jim, 3-1 on the morning line. You've also got big score coming in from California for Tim Yakteen, the winner of the Grade 3 Transylvania back in 2017. So some very good runners in here. And I do go to the favorite, the 3-1 morning line favorite, Spectacular Gem, for Jimmy Baker. This colt has been good to them. He's a Keeneland graduate. They paid just $20,000 for him back in 2017 at the September sale. He and his wife, Candy Baker, this is a husband and wife team with this colt. And Jimmy opted for this race over the Shadwell. He was entered in the Shadwell. This race comes up. the race fills and they go in this direction and opt for this here tonight, I think it's the right move because he is a very good colt. He's made over $300,000, and he's done so in very good races. Last time out, he took on Digital Age in the Grade 1 on Derby Day at Churchill Downs. But did we take you back to Ellis Park 2 starts ago in the Kentucky Down Preview Tourist Mile, where he toys with this field over soft ground. He does so in winning by a length and a quarter. He's very straightforward. He's at his best when he's up close to the lead or on the lead, and I think that he's going to have an opportunity to do that again here today. Maybe Ramsey Solution will be one that goes with him as he's drawn down to the inside, but I think the outside post is advantageous for the favorite in here in Spectacular Gem. I really like him a lot in this spot, and I think that this is the right move by skipping the Shadwell and going towards this group here today. And as far as the underneath horses, Big Score, he always seems to show up for Tim Yaktine and George Krikorian, and he's run here, as I mentioned before, in the past at Keeneland. And then Ramsey Solution, a horse that comes off of a restricted stakes win at Kentucky Downs as well. He should sit forward. He's a horse that I don't know that he's been tested to the likes of these. He did run against Digital Age, to be fair, those 2 starts back, but I think that this is a step up in class for him, even off of that stakes win at Kentucky Downs. So 6-4-3 in the feature for me here today.
Well, Scott, I think really the question is Spectacular Gem, right? You either like him and think that he's going to make the lead today, or you kind of like him and think he might get a little bit of pace pressure. I agree with you. I think he is at his best when he's on the lead, and I also kind of think he's at his best going a mile, Scott. So he does have to kind of get a little bit more distance, and I actually think the pace pressure is going to come from the horse just to his outside in the 7, Renaissance Frolic. I know that he went slowly at Gulfstream last time he routed on the turf, or one of the few times that he routed on the turf, but he is faster than maybe what he's shown recently. So we could see an aggressive ride by Sean Bridgemahan to create some pressure for the 6 Spectacular Gem. So I do respect the favorite. But I did ultimately land on the 1A English B. This is a horse that has been close, just hasn't managed to break through. Recently, he went against the likes of Ramsey Solution. I think the race sets up for him a little bit better today than Ramsey Solution, so I look for him to turn the tables. We'll take a look at his race a few starts back in the Grade 2 Wise Dan. This was at Churchill Downs back in June. And he finished second to Factor This. Of course, Factor This you see in similar running lines as some of these other horses. He's kind of one of the top horses in this particular division. Factor This would go on to win the dinner party stakes on Preakness weekend as well. So quality horses that this horse has faced. He was beaten a length to War of Will in the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile. I don't think he's at his best at a mile. I think he's actually okay going longer distances, say a mile and a 16th, a mile and an 8th. So that's where I give him a little bit of the advantage. And on top of that, I also like the 5, Mr. Dumas, for trainer Mike Maker, who just looks like he too could get the right trip. So those were kind of the 2 horses that I wanted to play around with in this race, Scott, but I also respect Spectacular Gem.
It is a good race. It is the feature. It is by far the most challenging race of the afternoon and part of that late pick 4, which we'll get into in just a few moments. But let's check in with our friend Tom Leach.
Visiting with jockey James Graham, who will be aboard Spectacular Gem in Thursday's allowance feature on the turf. James, tell me about the last race. It was a Grade 1, so tough company and not a great post either, right?
Yeah, we were drawn real wide that day, and I broke, I squeezed, and I set second down the backside. Traveled beautiful. When I picked him up, he just didn't quite go like I was hoping he would, but that's what happens when you run against Grade 1 company. But don't get me wrong, he's a pretty good horse, and we look forward to tomorrow.
He seems to have really improved since you rode him in the winter at the fairgrounds to when he came back this summer.
Yeah, he's grown. He got bigger, he's stronger. You know, a 3-year-old turning 4. Got a little bit of a break when the COVID hit. Everybody did, but he seemed to have thrived off it. So his run at Churchill, his first race back off his little layoff, was fantastic. He went fast and he kept going. Then he went to Ellis and win again. So, like, we were just hoping we could carry the momentum, you know.
How's the race set up strategically for his style, do you think?
There's some speed, some other speed in it tomorrow, but we'll see what happens when we leave there.
Good luck.
Thank you.
It's James Graham. He'll be aboard Spectacular Gem in Thursday's allowance feature.
It's 3-1 on the morning line. We'll see if he goes favored. Any one of these, there's so many horses in here, bottom line, that will be not that far off of each other. And I think that whoever goes favored, we're looking at probably 3-1, maybe even 7-2 at the end of the win wagering once they spring the latches on the starting gate. So a very good race, that 9th event. Time now for our key races of the day. You'll start early in the card, Gabby, with a 2-year-old filly race on the grass, and they'll be going a mile in race number 3.
Yes, so we have one scratch in the body of the field, the number 3, and do take note that the 14 Eventide does draw into the race at 12-1 on the morning line. My focus is going to go to the 5, Anamuya, for trainer Wesley Ward. This is a filly who's just competed against a really stiff competition in her first 2 starts, or only 2 starts. Her debut, she went against Plum Ally, who went on to win the Miss Grillo. She recently got an 82 by her speed figure for that victory. And then Fluffy Socks, a filly that she ran against last time out, which will roll back the replay. This was at Kentucky Downs, where she was flying coming from off of the pace. She was multiple lengths last. At one point, she was 9th. And then she starts to make this bold move, closing from off of it, and just couldn't quite get Fluffy Socks. The second place finisher was Surrealist in here as well. But Fluffy Socks, love the name, would go on to win the Salima Stakes on Preakness weekend. So both of the races that she's run in have gone on to be very productive races. I think the mile should suit her just fine here today. And the blinkers come off after wearing them in her first 2 starts. I do like that move. It's usually a pretty successful move for Wesley Ward, who wins at about 23% with that move. So she's the top pick. I also use the 7. Flutiste for Graham Motion. It's a question of whether or not she's a closing sprinter, Scott, as she kind of showed in her debut, or if she can effectively stretch out in distance. And then finally, the 2, Zoiks, is going to be the 3rd selection, a 2-year-old filly by Dubawi, first-time starter for trainer Chad Brown. And the half-sibling, Glycon, actually just won a Group 3 at Longchamp. So some really nice pedigree there for the 2, 7, 5, 7, 2 for me in race 3.
If you're playing the early pick 4, early pick 5, I would recommend taking a look at Clayton's Candy. I think that she'll be a different filly here today, and should appreciate the 2 turns for CJ Thoroughbreds and Steve Asmussen. I'm not surprised you like the name Fluffy Socks, because you are wearing house slippers for a second consecutive day.
They're not.
Here
They're
at
J.
Keeneland.
Crew slippers.
Let's move on to race number 4. They are. They're J. Crew. Race number 4.
Not bedroom, but they are slippers.
Race number 4 is where I'm taking you. Allowance optional claiming event. This is a 2 other than with an optional $100,000 tag attached to it. Nobody in for the tag. And this is a race that has some quality to it. You've got Big Dreaming, who comes from the first day I'm Dreaming of Anna, a 2-year-old champion, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies on dirt at Churchill Downs for Frank Carl Calabrese and Wayne Catalano. I think that you've got to give this colt a look as he tries dirt for the first time, and he's already a 2-time winner. But the 5-horse Sonneman is where I go. The colt by Curlin for Steve Asmussen and Cortland Farms. I think that this horse has a lot of upside, and we'll see him get back on track off of his recent runner-up finish in the Grade 2 Pat Day Mile, which we take you to right now. This was on Kentucky Derby Day, just before the Derby, and he ran a big number in the Pat Day Mile. He earned a 3 on the Thorograph figures, so that is a very fast number to earn, and certainly will work at this level. They tried him in the Allen Jerkins. He just couldn't hang that day. He just didn't have any speed coming away from the gate. And I think that going 2 turns is going to be key for him. In fact, he's only run 2 turns. In fact, he's never run 2 turns, because a mile and a 16th at Belmont Park is a 1-turn setup. So going 2 turns with his pedigree from the stakes-winning mare Zardana, who's known for her victory over Rachel Alexandra in the New Orleans Ladies, I believe was the name of the race back that year. That was Rachel's first race back. Off of her unbelievable year at the age of 3. That was her first start at the age of 4. Bottom line is good pedigree, good conditioner, a lot of upside, earned a very fast number last time out. Sonneman for me, and then the colt out of that mare, Dreaming of Anna, Big Dreaming second, and then Bird King. For them to ship down from Parks for this race, he has to be doing good. When this horse is good, he's good. And so he must be doing well for Michael Pino to justify this ship down here, because he had to know that he was going to run into some bears in here, and that's exactly what's happening. So I'll trust the ship and the judgment of a 20% trainer in Michael Pino, 5-3-1 in race number 4.
Purses are also pretty nice for Kentucky breds.
They are. They most certainly are.
That might be another incentive to ship him from Parks.
Yeah, but listen, it costs money to ship. I read into these things maybe more than I should, but I think that when you've got a trainer that knows that they've got a horse that's doing well, you've got to have a reason to come knowing that you're going to run against tough company. What are you doing in race number 4? This is part of your key race as well.
I hear you on Sonneman, and he's definitely the horse to beat. There's no doubt about it. Even rolling back that last race, Scott, I'm glad you did, because you could see he kept on kind of lugging in and then moving out. He just couldn't get his feet underneath of him until late, and then once he did, he finally was almost able to catch Rushy. So he just needs to kind of get into the flow at the top of the stretch, and I think he should be able to win this race. However, the other horse in here for me is going to be my top selection that I'll take a shot with, the 3 Big Dreaming. You mentioned it, Scott, the pedigree. He's out of a very, very nice mare in Dreaming of Anna, who was very versatile. Not only was she the winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, which is on the dirt, but she was also a 4-time graded stakes winner on the turf. So you get versatility coming from the female family, but you also get versatility coming from Declaration of War. We'll roll back this horse's last race. This was 1 mile and 5/16 at Kentucky Downs, where he finished second to Moon Over Miami. But I want to go back to talking about Declaration of War. I think it was a conversation that you and I had, Scott, and I didn't really like a horse on one day. I think it was at Churchill Downs, trying the dirt for the first time. And you kind of said that, well, you know, his progeny has actually been okay on both surfaces. So I went back and I actually looked up statistics. Declaration of War's progeny wins at 21% in dirt routes, and one of them, of course, is Silver Prospector, who won the Grade 3 Southwest and the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club. So you get versatility from the sire, and you get versatility from the female family. That's where I land on this horse trying the dirt for the first time.
I'm surprised you didn't trust me and just take my word for it. You had to dig in.
I like facts.
You like the stats. You're heavy on the stats, which I respect because I am as well. We refer
You need to
to
support your theories sometimes.
situational stats we go to quite often, and there's so many of them in the game at this point, and it seems like every year there's more added to it and more information presented to you. All right, my other key race is race number 8. This part of the late pick 4 does start the late pick 3. There is a scratch of the 1 and the 12, big scratch of the 12, Black Magic Woman. She's a filly we've heard a lot about since before she even ran, so watch for her wherever she ends up surfacing for Todd Pletcher on down the line. But in this race, I think that we're in store for a strong effort in here and a breakout performance from the filly Financial One, the number 9 horse for Juddmonte Farms. This is a Juddmonte homebred and a blue blood through and through. She's a filly by Malibu Moon, and she is a half-sister to the 5-time Grade 1 winner, Close Hatches. And Close Hatches was obviously very good. This filly ran once. We're going to roll it for you right now. This is at Churchill Downs, going 7/8 of a mile, and she's going to end up finishing up second in here, beaten 2.5 lengths. This was on Kentucky Oaks Friday at Churchill Downs. She's come back with some stiff and fast workouts at Churchill. I think that the progression is here for her to step up as she goes 1 mile and 1/16 with that pedigree. You got Javi in the saddle again, Javier Castellano, who rode her here on debut, and she just gets going here in that last 1/16 of a mile. So watch out for Financial One, and she is a filly that is actually named after the financial controller of Juddmonte Farms, who has worked for Juddmonte for 36 years. Her name, Jackie Smith. Jackie is going to be out here attending the races, so we look forward to seeing that. But cool story there, a well-bred filly and a filly with a lot of upside, Financial One. I think that you're going to see a breakout performance here today. My second choice is the number 8 horse, Villanelle, for Brad Cox. Another horse with a lot of class, and then the number 6 horse, Tis Emotional Gold. I think one you can take a look at on the stretch out as well with that pedigree. Time now for the Clocker Report. We go to race number 3 and the number 5 horse, Anamuya, on the 22nd of September. Worked 59-4, going 5/8 of a mile right here at Keeneland. A sharp breeze in company since her last race, and the trainer is 23% when taking blinkers off. And then also take a look at race number 7, the number 1 horse, Eliad, on the 2nd of October. Worked a half mile in 48-1. Sharp local work. Just missed last race at this level. Is overdue. So race 3, the 5, race 7, the 1 for the Clockers Report. Time now for the late pick 4. This is a good sequence, Gabby, because of the presence of the quality of runners that we have. The feature race is wide open. This is a sequence that you really want to consider playing here today at Keeneland.
For sure, but it's not easy, Scott. I don't want to invest too much into it. I could spend $24 or I could spend over $100 in this pick 4. So this is kind of the skeleton ticket here. You can build your ticket off from here, but these are kind of the strongest opinions within the sequence. In race 7, 1, 8, Iliad for trainer Chad Brown, and then also the number 8, Delta's Kingdom. Those are the 2 horses who I think the field needs to beat. In the 8th race, a maiden special weight, 689 for me. My top selections, the 6, Tis Emotional Gold for Michelle Nihei. As we get to the 9th race, it's an allowance race. I'm going to be using the favorite in there in Spectacular Gem, the 6, but also my top pick and the 1A English B. And then finally in the last race, I thought that was wide open. I wanted coverage in there. So all of the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 9, but the top pick is the 2, She's Happy for Nick Zito.
My pick 4, I'm going to spend more money because Gabby's right. You have to have coverage in here. I think my first ticket that I put together was $100 and something, but I did cut it down to 72, going 4 deep in the first leg. Eliad, the 1. Then you've got Cambaliza, who was a second runner-up behind Blame Debbie, who won here last Thursday. And that was that controversial race at Kentucky Downs where Cambaliza was actually placed first via DQ. Then you've got the 8 horse on this ticket, Delta Kingdom for Bill Mott, earned a strong number last time out. And then Romantic Pursuit, a blue blood for Godolphin, the filly by Medaglia d'Oro from the First Dam Questing, who's a Grade 1 winner of the Alabama Stakes. Race number 8, 3 deep. In race number 9, plenty of coverage in that featured event, including the favorite Spectacular Gem. You've also got to have Ramsey Solution, Big Score in there as well, and Mr. Dumas, the number 5 horse, I think you have to include. And then race number 10, 3 deep, 2, 3, and 4 in that maiden 2-year-old race. That's another tough one because you've got so many class droppers. Who's going to wake up here today? We'll find out just past 6 o'clock Eastern time. But this is one of these. This might be the best late pick 4 sequence that we have had so far this meet. And we've had some big time races last weekend on Fall Stars weekend. Please take a look at those 4 races, and we urge you to play them here today in that late pick 4. All right, time now for our best angles, and you'll go mid-card, Gabby, to race number 5, 2-year-old maiden 20 claimers. What do you got in store here?
I like the 9 Algebraic here for a second-time starter for trainer Dane Kabisky. And, you mentioned how I love statistics. Well, it's one of the reasons why I picked this horse. Maiden dropper sprinting on the dirt. The barn wins at 29%, finishes in the money 54%. An ROI of $5.69. That's huge. It's a great stat. Now, Algebraic will show you his debut back at Churchill Downs. It was a smaller field. It was a field of 6. He was post 3, but he showed speed coming out of the gate, and then ultimately he was pressed the entire way. So with that kind of post position towards the inside, his hand was forced. He got a little bit tired. Now today he drops in class. He has an outside post. I still think he's going to show the speed that he showed on debut, but a better post position of being able to control things from the outside. So those are some of the reasons why I really like that horse. I think you should be able to get 5-1 on him today.
What about maiden dropper sprinting on dirt on a Thursday, though, for the barn? How do they do on a Thursday, Gabby?
Formulator doesn't go that far, but I'll write a letter.
Let's go to race number 6. That's my best angle, and I'm going to fire big on the number 4 horse, Ghost Fighter, who's 5-1. You've got Pit Boss in here, who's going to be the heavy favorite. I think that the inside draw is a detriment to him. He's going to have to work out a trip with Corey Lannery, and we'll see if he can be sharp away from the gate. That's going to be key. That's why I'm going to Ghost Fighter. I love this horse in here for Mark Cassie and Mr. Oxley and Declan Carroll. We go back to his race 2 starts back at Churchill Downs, where he ends up finishing 4th behind Halo again, who's now a 2-time stakes winner. They add blinkers, and this is another part of my angle here with this colt. You got Declan Carroll. His father, David Carroll, works for Mark Cassidy. They're giving him an opportunity here. You think that Declan Carroll is going to be maybe riding like he's riding in the Kentucky Derby today? I think there's a big chance of that. He's going to be extremely fired up for this one. You're laughing at me. What's so funny? What's so funny about that?
Just your angles. You make fun of me for coming with statistics.
Listen,
and
you get inside I'm just trying to get inside the mind of these folks. That's how I like to operate, Gabby Gaudet.
Okay.
We're all guessing.
It's a good point. I mean, it's not the first time Declan has ridden a horse for Mark and his dad, but
this is a big chance.
It's
a nice colt too. I mean, this is a colt that they paid a lot of money for. They're looking to break through. Today's the day for Ghost Fighter. Today's the day. Just trust me from time to time. Right?
But I did talk to Wayne Catalano yesterday, and he said,
how'd that go?
Pit Boss.
Pit Boss. Okay.
Easy money.
All right.
Just telling you what I know.
He did tell me that on the way out. He said, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in the winner's circle. So that must have been the one that he was talking about. All right, Tom Leach's pick of the day. He's going to race number 3, Demeter, who is 8-1 on the morning line. Well bet on debut for Brad Cox. Had a rough start, so excuse the poor finish. 8-1, Demeter, race 3. Any other words of wisdom, Gabby Gaudet, before we say goodbye?
I'm tapped out. I've
Any
got
more
nothing
stats?
else. No more
Anything?
stats,
Nothing?
but maybe later. I'll
Okay.
save them for the afternoon.
We've got plenty to cover here today. 10-race card. Get tied on. We hope you're enjoying the coverage from home, wherever you may be. And thank you for joining us here on Today at Keeneland. For the entire team, led by our producer, Philip Richardson. She's Gabby Gaudet. I'm Scott Hazelton. First post of this 10-race card, 1:05 Eastern Time.
The following is a presentation of the Keeneland Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeneland Racecourse. At this time, we ask that you would please rise in tribute to our national anthem. Keeneland is proud to recognize Ryan Cooney from stewarding as the Employee of the Day. Ryan, congratulations.